City News on TV Rotorua is proudly brought to you by Trade Central.
Good evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News. The Bay of Plenty Regional Council urges swimmers to stay out of lake ski lanes. Delegates are in town for the National Rural Health Conference, and the Chiefs team has been announced to play Stormers in Cape Town. But first, the tragic loss of 26-year-old Louise Jull is being felt throughout the community. The Western Heights High School teacher had headed out kayaking with friends on Wednesday evening. The group of three were kayaking the lower Kaituna River downstream of the trout pool when Louise was separated from her companions. They were alerted to this when they noticed she was missing from her kayak. The alarm was raised and a number of locals began a search, but her body wasn't found until yesterday morning. Louise was a whitewater and extreme kayaker of international reputation who had won the 2015 Kaituna and Wairoa Extreme Kayaking Women's section, and she recently came second place in the Citrian race in Otago. The family acknowledges a deep gratitude to the two other paddlers and to the wider community who turned out to assist in the search and rescue yesterday morning. Swimmers using ski lanes in local lakes are endangering themselves, and the Bay of Plenty Regional Council is urging people to stay out of the black and orange marked areas for safety reasons.
We have a problem that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's people swimming in the ski lanes. So we need, especially our local people, which is very much a no-no. We need people, if you're going to go swimming, don't swim between the black and orange markers. Simple as that.
Approximately 300 to 400 delegates from the rural primary healthcare, farming, business and community sectors are in town for the 2015 National Rural Health Conference at the Energy Events Centre. This year's theme, Close to Home, focuses on equitable access to affordable, top-quality primary healthcare services for rural communities, with the program focus on the health and well-being of these rural communities and the delivery of effective primary healthcare. Speakers range from highly skilled health professionals to those from a variety of farming, agricultural, community and rural business backgrounds.
One of the big issues for rural people is equity of access to health care. That's easy to think of in terms of people having to travel to health care. Another issue that we're looking at is where we train our rural practitioners. Training institutions are often centred in urban areas, and getting people into the rural sector to get rural experience is difficult. Organising the people to teach them there's a lot of enthusiasts there, but coordinating that is a challenge as well. So that comes under that theme as well.
In sport tonight, the Chiefs have named their team to play the Stormers this weekend in Cape Town. Chiefs coach Dave Rennie has made 6 changes to the starting 15. Captain Liam Messon will start at flanker, and Japanese captain Michael Leach will make his Investec Super Rugby debut for the Chiefs at number 8. Brad Webber starts at halfback and is joined by Tim Nanai-Williams at centre, Bryce Heem on the right wing and Damien McKenzie at fullback. The match will be played at Saturday the 14th of March at 3 p.m. local time. That's Sunday the 15th of March at 2 a.m. New Zealand time. To your weather now. A severe weather watch has been issued in regards to Cyclone Pam over the coming days, with potential strong southeast winds battering the region on Monday. However, tonight you can expect some light winds with an overnight low of 12. We'll have a full forecast of the weekend's weather coming up after City News thanks to Met Service, and you can access all the weather information you need at metservice.com. Don't forget, for program listings or to watch City News again, visit our website tvrotorua.co.nz, and remember to check out our TV Rotorua Facebook page. Coming up on City News, Puya Lucas Warden talks about the Wero Challenge, and we have a 2-part interview with Bay of Plenty Regional Councillor Arapeta Tahana.
welcome to Rotorua Aroha Health Centre, where we're joined by Toya Lucas Walden, who's going to let us know about the Wero Challenge. Toya, the Wero Challenge, we know it's been around for a while, we know it's successful, but it's running again 2015, isn't it?
Correct, yes, we run another challenge on the 1st of April. We're starting our Wero Teams Challenge. We're looking for 10 wonderful people who are smoking at the moment, and it's that tick-tock time to give up and to have a go at and being supported while they're doing this 3-month challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know all the reasons why you should give up smoking really in the first place, apart from being encouraged by the Wero Challenge, but it's about health, isn't it?
It is definitely about health, and we're trying to focus this time on our hapu mama. We have a lot of actually young ones who really not so knowledgeable on the reasons why they should be looking at giving up smoking. So we're trying to get out there this time, and we're calling in for our hapu mamas, come on board and get the support and get the knowledge that you'll need to get you to be healthy and to have a healthy baby.
Oh, beautiful. Now, in your opinion, Toya, what do you think is the main reason we start smoking in the first place?
I think and I'm really speaking for Māori people, I think it depends on our social lives, what we're involved in. Our finances, I think, seems to be a big thing now. If we don't have jobs and we haven't got accommodation, all of those things, they don't help them to be able to give up. It's a reason why they've started, but it's one of the biggest reasons why they find it difficult to give up.
Now, if we look at the people at the moment who are currently smoking and we look at their generation, they weren't set up for success, were they? Advertising for cigarettes were all over TV, all over billboards, everywhere.
Absolutely. It was actually part of what you did. If you played sports, well, as soon as you finished, you came off, it was the natural thing, cigarette, and then maybe go to the bar.
Yeah, absolutely. But guess what, whānau? We know it's not healthy for you and we know it's not cheap, but the Wero Challenge is here to help, and tell them how.
Well, here at Rotorua Aroha, we have a support team that will help you over the 3 months that you're trying to give up. You don't have to give up on the 1st of April. We just wean you off slowly over the 3 months. We give you all the patches, and it may be lozenges. And I think one of the biggest things is we actually educate you how to use them correctly. Some have been on these patches, on the lozenges, on the chewing gum, but they're actually not using them right. They have their own little rules that they seem to make up.
That's right. But there's more of an incentive, isn't there? Tell them about the money.
Right, yes, we do have an incentive. We actually have $6,500 that you're able to win if you have 10 smokers, non-smokers, at the end of the 3 months. It's a challenge, but the first 500 comes up in the first 4 weeks, depending on how many numbers on your little waka that you have that have given up. And then at the end of 8 weeks, there's another 500 that you can win. And at the end of the 3 months, you can win 5,000. But there's also another 500 now they've added in for bloggers. So if you're a good blogger and you want to give up smoking, you can win $500. But let me just point out to you that the $500, it needs to go under a charitable organisation. Unfortunately, whānau, you can't just take it for yourselves as individuals, but you may have a kapahaka team, you may have a netball, football team, and if you have those, then it can go towards that.
Or even doing it for your kids, because there's a lot of kids sporting teams out there, isn't there?
There is, yes, and you can absolutely support them. Yes.
Now, you've got quite a wide range of winners here, Toya, in the past. Can you just talk about some of them and who they are?
Yes, I'd like. Well, what's interested me too is Red Stag. Now, Red Stag was a team of 10. They were all males. Very dedicated they were. They decided right from day one that they put up their hands and said, yes, we want to do it, and they were. They worked hard over the 3 months and they actually became winners.
Very nice. Who else have we got up here?
We've also got a kohanga reo. We've got 2 kohanga reo teams that we've had, and they've managed to win. They had to share a prize of 2,500, but they were dedicated. They had a hapu mama on board. If you have a hapu mama on the challenge, they too have special prizes and spot prizes, probably worth around about $200.
Very nice. And I can also see that all Whata Marae are winners in the past as well.
Whata Marae?
Yeah.
Excellent, yes.
Absolutely. But hey, it's about you now. It's your turn. It's your chance to win, to help your whānau, to help yourself and to help your community. Come join the Wero Challenge.
Kia ora everybody, o kare kore ka mōhiotia wētahi ki te kanohi nei, ko Arapeta Tāhana tēnei tangata e tū I tōku taha. Kia ora everybody, many of you will know this gentleman standing next to me, Arapeta Tāhana. He has been a member of the Te Aroha Standing Committee previously, a very passionate member of Te Aroha. Ngā mihi kia koe, hoa whaki mai ki te motu o ki te motu I konei I Rotorua, ko wai rā koe.
Pai, tōtahi ake rā tēnei te mihi ati kia koe hoa. Me ki pēnei pēr, ko matawhaura te maunga, ko te ruti tiki te aihinga te mona, ko te kaituna te awa, ko Ngāti Tamatea tūtahi e kaweti me Ngāti Hinekuranga hapu, ko Ngāti Piki ao te iwi, he uri hoki au no Ngāti Mākino no Tapuika, me ki tetehi o ngā uri o te tupuna nei tamate kapua. No reira, no te aroa tūturu.
Kia ora, whakapākehātia mai koa.
Ka pai. So my name's Arapeta Tāhana. I was born and raised in Rotorua, grew up out at Rotiiti, so my iwi, my tribe is Ngāti Pikiao, and also have connections to Ngāti Mākino and Tapuika. Have been passionate about my history and my identity and being Te Aroa all of my life. And I suppose fortunate that I had a father that played a leadership role within Te Aroa, so I was exposed to some of the big issues, the big challenges, the big opportunities right from a young age, and see part of my journey is to carry on some of the mahi of my father. The overarching aim of all of this is to create a better world for our people and indeed everyone who lives in Rotorua.
Ngā mihi kia koe, ngā mihi kia koe. So let's talk about your time with the Te Aroha Standing Committee. How did you find that?
Sure. So I joined the Te Aroha Standing Committee in 2009 and have been since then part of the infrastructure of council. To be honest, it's been a frustrating process. So it became apparent to me quite early on that the Te Aroha Standing Committee didn't really have any teeth. We weren't dealing with the right issues. We weren't, in my opinion, adding value to what council's doing and council's desire to create a stronger, a better future for our residents in Rotorua. So that kind of led into the need to look at new ways of working together. And the partnership proposal has fallen out of that frustration. There were also a number of other incidents that really brought this issue to the surface, the issue of how council engages with Māori. And one of the key events was their proposed wastewater treatment plant they wanted to put out at Lake Rotorua. Ngāti Pikiao and Ngāti Mākino took that to the Environment Court and won a case to have that stopped. And what that process really highlighted to us is that some of the behaviours and processes that council were using in engaging Māori were insufficient. One from a legal perspective in terms of the obligations to Māori under the Local Government Act and the RMA, but more importantly just from a relationships and a tikanga perspective. And I do want to stress that because this isn't about the legalities, this is about a world where we want to work together with others. I think it gets confused a little bit when we focus on the legalities of it. Essentially, we just want to have a meaningful relationship so that we can contribute better to the development of Rotorua. And when you step back and look at what Te Aroha has to offer, there's a whole lot of significant value we can bring to the table, not only from a cultural perspective and a historical perspective, but also our current position in terms of being key economic players in this region. And these were some of the messages I tried to impart to our council just to understand the bigger picture here.
Tell me now what your hopes are for the future.
Sure. Well, ideally, I'd like to see this model or something close to it go ahead. But there's a bigger kaupapa here. This is really about our community sitting down, working together to create the best outcomes for the current generations and equally importantly for our future generations. So whether this model goes ahead or not, I think it helps to raise the consciousness of our community around how we can sit and work in partnership. That's all I want to see.
Ko tērā te ngako o te treaty o Waitangi, ni? That's what the treaty's all about.
Yep, absolutely. So we're trying to bring the treaty down to a local level. It's happening at a national level. It's appropriate that it happens at a local level, and even more so appropriate that it happens in a place like Rotorua that's built on Māori culture and history and a significant population of Māori living here.
Ngā mihi nui kia koe mō tō mahi, me tō manaaki ki tēnei kaupapa, me o mahi I roto I ngā kāwana arohe. Ngā mihi nui kia koe.
Kia ora, ngā mihi kia koutou hoki.
We now bring you part 2 of the interview.
Can you tell me a little bit about your mahi?
Sure. So I was fortunate enough to be elected on the regional council in the last elections, so fairly new to this game, but enjoying it thoroughly. I sit on one of the Māori seats. There's 3 seats on that council are dedicated to Māori wards, so I'm representing the Rotorua area in terms of the Bay of Plenty Regional Council. At the moment we're going through the process of consultation on our long-term plan, so the long-term plan covers our activities for the next 10 years. It's an opportunity for our community to give us some feedback about whether we've got our priorities right. A couple of key things in that document. One of them, and this is really relevant to Rotorua, is that we're spending a lot more money on water quality. And I think the Rotorua community would agree that this is an important kaupapa. There's a lot of work that has been going on in the last 6 to 8 years around cleaning up Lake Rotorua. That's going to be extended and a whole lot of initiatives implemented around that. So that's a big focus for us. And beyond Rotorua, the whole Bay of Plenty region, we're looking at the water management frameworks for that. We're having to set some water quality targets and water allocation targets by 2025. So that's driving a whole lot of our mahi over the next 10 years, to the extent that it's added $8 million a year to our annual budgets. So that's something that we're really keen to get the views of our communities on. Do they support this mahi? Do they think we should pull back or do more? Beyond that, some of the key things that are relevant to Rotorua include our Māori Economic Development Strategy. So obviously Rotorua is the Rotorua district is the largest contributor to the Bay of Plenty Regional Council and Bay of Plenty Regional economy in terms of Māori assets. So around about $327 million a year is generated off Māori assets within our rohe. What we've done is developed a Bay of Plenty Economic Development Strategy, and one of the strands inside of that is the Māori Economic Development Strategy, and it's really looking at how can we leverage the resources, the contribution we make to the economy to make a bigger difference for the whole of Bay of Plenty economy, as well as our whānau. And one of the big goals in that is how can we raise the household income for Māori whānau, because we know that some of those statistics don't look that great. So there's a couple of kaupapa that I think are really relevant to Rotorua.
Beautiful. Now about the way, I've seen the difference in the way just in the last few years. You go down to the lakefront and you can see the sand on the bottom not looking quite so paru-paru. No. So there is some significant movement and you can see it. So that must feel good. Are you happy with your progress?
Absolutely. I think it is good to see progress, but it's probably more important to understand why we're seeing that progress. And the reason we're seeing a cleaner lake at the moment is because some of the work we're doing is around alum dosing, and effectively that's trapping some of those nutrients. Now, whilst that's good in terms of we've got a cleaner lake now, it's not a long-term solution, because those nutrients are trapped on the bottom of the lake. At some point in the future, they're going to start releasing. So we can't rest on our laurels and think, well, kei te pai, we've cleaned it up. There's a lot more work to go on in the next decade and beyond.
How can other people help you build? So how can te hunga I mātakitaki ana, all our viewers, how can they help? How can they be involved? What can they do in their everyday life that is going to help your mahi?
Sure. I suppose one thing is to start becoming more aware of what's happening both with local government and regional government, so the regional council and the district council. I think for a lot of our people it's a bit of a taniwha that sits out on the side and we don't understand how it works. One of the things I've been stressing to both our people and councils is there's actually a lot of similarities in the way we think. So a council has to look at the whole well-being of a community, not just the environment, not just economy, people as well, and a number of factors. As Māori, we look at the world exactly the same way. We also both have to look at it from a long-term perspective. So we're thinking about what's this place going to look like for our grandchildren. So I'd encourage all of our community just to get a better understanding of what local government does, and I suppose focus on the things that you're interested in. I don't want to tell anyone to get passionate about stuff that I'm passionate about because it may not interest you in kei te pai, but find what you're passionate about and see how you can influence things. I think we've all got a role to play in making this world a better place.
Ngā mihi nui kia koe he kupu hei whakamutunga?
Tērā pēr ko te mihi atu ki te hāpori whānui o Rotorua, me ōna hapu, ōna iwi, ōna kārangarangatanga maha. Ko te mea nui, kia hoki tātou ki te kōrero o tātou tūpuna, hea te mea nui o te ao, me ki he tangata, he tangata, he tangata. So just to translate that really briefly, what's the most important thing in the world? It's people, and we need to have better quality conversations with each other on how we can contribute to making this world a better place.
Ngā mihi nunui kia koe hoa. Tēnā rawa atu koe.
Thanks for joining us tonight. From all the team here at City News, ko Maria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
City News on TV Rotorua was proudly brought to you by Trade Central.